Far from any shoreline, where the ocean deepens into darkness and surface noise dissolves into pressure and cold, a massive silhouette moves with unhurried certainty. It does not rush. It does not wander. It travels with the confidence of something that has crossed this world many times before humanity learned to name the sea. The leatherback sea turtle is not merely swimming, it is continuing a journey older than continents as we know them. This species predates most modern life forms. When dinosaurs dominated land, leatherback ancestors already navigated ancient oceans. Mass extinctions came and went. Oceans warmed, cooled, and rearranged themselves. Yet the leatherback endured, not by remaining unchanged, but by becoming different from every other turtle that followed. Its body tells this story immediately. Unlike hard-shelled turtles, the leatherback carries no rigid armor. Instead, its back is covered by a thick, rubbery, leathery skin layered over flexible bone structures. This design sacrifices rigidity for resilience. Pressure that would crush other turtles is absorbed and redistributed. Depth becomes accessible, cold becomes survivable, the ocean opens. Size reinforces this dominance. The leatherback is the largest living turtle, reaching lengths over 2 meters and weights exceeding 600 kilograms. In the open sea, scale is safety. Few predators can challenge such mass, and even fewer can sustain pursuit across thousands of kilometers of open water. But physical size alone does not explain the leatherback's true power. What sets it apart is physiology that borders on contradiction. Though classified as a reptile, the leatherback maintains body temperatures far above surrounding waters. Through a combination of sheer body mass, specialized blood flow, and constant muscular activity, it generates and retains heat. This allows it to forage in frigid northern oceans where jellyfish blooms thrive, territory unreachable for other turtles. Movement through water is relentless but efficient. The leatherback does not paddle, it flies. Its massive front flippers sweep in slow, powerful strokes, converting effort into distance with minimal loss. Energy efficiency is survival currency on migrations that span entire ocean basins. Feeding behavior reveals another paradox. An animal of immense size survives on prey of almost no nutritional density. Jellyfish, fragile, translucent, nearly invisible, form the bulk of its diet. To sustain itself, the leatherback must consume vast quantities, filtering the ocean hour after hour. Specialized backward-pointing spines line its throat, preventing slippery prey from escaping once swallowed. This is not brute force feeding. It is engineering. This diet places the leatherback at the center of ocean balance. Jellyfish populations explode when unchecked, disrupting fisheries and ecosystems. By consuming them at scale, the leatherback performs a regulatory role no machine could replicate. Navigation remains one of its greatest mysteries. Leatherbacks cross oceans with precision that defies randomness. They return to natal beaches after decades at sea, guided by cues scientists still struggle to fully explain. Magnetic fields, currents, temperature gradients, all are read, interpreted, remembered. This memory is not conscious. It is biological inheritance refined by experience. The leatherback does not explore aimlessly. It follows routes written into its species long before maps existed. Yet despite all this power, all this history, the leatherback is vulnerable. And that vulnerability is not natural. To understand how the leatherback sea turtle survives where others fail, one must look beneath the surface, not just of the ocean, but of the animal itself. This turtle is built around a contradiction. It is a reptile that behaves like a warm-blooded traveler, a soft-bodied giant that dives into crushing depths, a slow breeder that spans entire oceans. None of this is accidental. Every internal system is tuned for endurance. Thermoregulation defines its freedom. While most reptiles are prisoners of ambient temperature, the leatherback operates on a different rule set. Its immense body mass reduces heat loss, but mass alone is not enough. A specialized countercurrent heat exchange system keeps warm blood flowing toward vital organs while cooler blood returns from the flippers. Constant movement generates internal heat, and thick layers of fat-like tissue insulate the core. The result is functional warm-bloodedness without the metabolic cost of true endothermy. This adaptation unlocks cold water ecosystems rich in jellyfish. Where competitors retreat, the leatherback advances. Northern oceans, often overlooked as reptile habitats, become feeding grounds. In these waters, prey density compensates for nutritional poverty. The turtle eats continuously, hour after hour, mouth opening wide to engulf gelatinous masses that would starve other predators. Its feeding anatomy reflects this specialization. The esophagus is lined with backward-facing keratinized spines, creating a one-way path. Jellyfish, once swallowed, cannot escape. Even the stomach tolerates venom that would incapacitate other animals. This internal armor allows the leatherback to exploit a food source avoided by most of the ocean. Diving behavior reveals further mastery. Leatherbacks routinely descend hundreds of meters, entering a world of darkness and pressure. Their lungs compress safely, reducing buoyancy and conserving oxygen. Heart rate slows. Blood flow prioritizes the brain and heart. These dives are not desperate, they are deliberate, controlled descents into layers where jellyfish aggregate. Time underwater stretches far beyond what size alone would suggest. The leatherback manages oxygen like a long-distance runner, rationing breath for endurance rather than bursts. It does not panic in depth. It belongs there. Behaviorally, the leatherback is solitary by necessity. The open ocean offers no stable social structure. Individuals cross paths briefly during feeding or migration, but there is no cooperation, no hierarchy. Each turtle follows its own internal map. This independence reduces competition and allows vast dispersal across the globe. Migration itself is a feat of biological memory. Leatherbacks do not wander randomly, they trace ancient corridors shaped by currents and temperature gradients. These routes connect feeding grounds to nesting beaches with astonishing consistency. Decades may pass between visits to land, yet the turtle returns with precision that suggests a deep integration of environmental cues. Reproduction introduces the greatest vulnerability. Females haul massive bodies onto beaches under cover of darkness, guided by instinct to the same stretches of sand where they hatched. Nesting is exhausting, dangerous, and infrequent. Dozens of eggs are laid, yet only a fraction will ever reach adulthood. This strategy relies on numbers, not protection. Once eggs are buried, the ocean calls again. There is no parental care. Survival is outsourced to probability. This is not neglect, it is an evolutionary calculation shaped by a world where lingering invites death. Hatchlings face a gauntlet of predators and hazards before even reaching the sea. Those that survive vanish into the open ocean, beginning a pelagic phase still poorly understood. Years pass without sightings. Growth happens far from shore, far from observation, reinforcing the leatherback's reputation as a ghost of the sea. Throughout its life, energy is spent with restraint. The leatherback does not waste motion. It does not display. It exists in a constant state of travel, feeding, adjusting. This economy of effort allows it to persist across distances that would exhaust most marine animals. Yet this finely tuned system assumes an ocean governed by natural rules. Those rules are changing. The modern ocean is no longer the ocean that shaped the leatherback sea turtle. Ancient currents still flow, temperatures still shift, and jellyfish still bloom, but layered over these natural systems is a dense web of human influence, invisible from the surface yet deadly in effect. For a species evolved to survive ice ages and mass extinctions, this new era presents challenges of a different kind. Plastic is the most immediate and lethal of these threats. Floating bags, sheets, and fragments drift through the water column with the same slow, pulsing motion as jellyfish. To a leatherback, evolved to hunt by shape and movement rather than detail, the difference is indistinguishable. Ingestion is often fatal. Plastic blocks digestion, punctures internal tissue, or creates a false sense of fullness that leads to starvation. The tragedy is silent. The turtle does not thrash. It simply weakens, then disappears. Fishing gear introduces another danger. Long lines, nets, and ropes stretch across migration routes like invisible walls. A leatherback that becomes entangled cannot surface to breathe or escape under its own power. Even when not killed outright, injuries from gear reduce swimming efficiency, turning epic migrations into exhausting ordeals the animal cannot sustain. Survival becomes a matter of chance rather than adaptation. Bycatch remains one of the most devastating pressures. Leatherbacks do not target commercial species, yet they intersect constantly with industrial fishing zones. Each accidental capture removes a reproductive adult from a population that cannot afford losses. Unlike fast-reproducing fish, leatherbacks mature slowly and reproduce infrequently. Every death echoes for decades. Climate change amplifies these threats through subtle disruption. Rising temperatures alter jellyfish distribution, forcing leatherbacks to travel farther for food. Shifting currents distort migration cues encoded over millennia. Nesting beaches face erosion, flooding, and temperature extremes that skew hatchling sex ratios, undermining future population stability. None of these effects are immediate. Together, they accumulate. Artificial lighting along coastlines adds another layer of disorientation. Hatchlings, once guided by moonlight reflecting off the ocean, now crawl inland toward roads and buildings. Mortality spikes before life even begins. What was once a reliable instinct becomes a fatal miscalculation. Yet despite this cascade of pressure, the leatherback does not vanish easily. Conservation efforts, when applied intelligently, demonstrate how resilient the species can be. Protected nesting beaches, turtle-excluded devices in fisheries, reduction of plastic waste, and international agreements have all produced measurable recoveries in certain regions. When given space, the leatherback responds. What makes conservation of this species uniquely important is its role as an ecological stabilizer. Jellyfish populations surge when unchecked, consuming fish larvae and destabilizing food webs. By feeding at scale, leatherbacks suppress these blooms, indirectly supporting fisheries and ocean health. Their loss would not be symbolic. It would be systemic. The leatherback's struggle is not one of weakness, but of mismatch. Its adaptations are ancient, precise, and effective against natural challenges. Human systems operate on timescales too fast, volumes too large, and patterns too chaotic for evolution to answer quickly. Survival now depends less on biology and more on restraint from the species that dominates the surface. The question is no longer whether the leatherback can survive the ocean. It has proven that for over 100 million years. The question is whether the ocean we are creating still allows survival at all. And that answer is not written in instinct. The leatherback sea turtle is not a relic clinging to extinction. It is a survivor shaped by epochs of instability, a living record of how life endures when conditions refuse to remain constant. Its continued existence is not guaranteed by strength alone, but by balance between movement and stillness, consumption and restraint, vulnerability and resilience. This turtle carries a biological philosophy forged long before modern oceans became crowded. It does not compete aggressively. It does not claim territory. It travels instead, crossing boundaries that no other reptile dares to approach. In doing so, it connects ecosystems separated by thousands of kilometers, moving energy and influence across entire ocean basins. Few species operate at this scale. What makes the leatherback indispensable is not its size or age, but its function. By regulating jellyfish populations, it protects the foundation of marine food webs. Fish stocks, coral systems, and even coastal economies benefit indirectly from its presence. Remove the leatherback, and imbalance follows, not dramatically at first, but inevitably. Its reproductive strategy underscores a brutal truth of nature: survival does not require certainty, only persistence. Most hatchlings will not survive. Those that do carry forward a lineage that has weathered mass extinctions, ice ages, and planetary shifts. This is not inefficiency, it is endurance encoded in probability. The leatherback's future, however, rests in unfamiliar hands. Human activity has introduced pressures that biology alone cannot counter. Plastic does not decompose on evolutionary timescales. Industrial fishing does not respond to instinctual avoidance. Artificial light does not fade with natural cycles. These are problems only awareness and policy can resolve. Yet hope remains grounded in evidence. Where protections are enforced, nesting success increases. Where bycatch is reduced, adult survival rebounds. The leatherback does not need reinvention, it needs relief. Given the chance, it continues as it always has, traveling, feeding, regulating, enduring. There is something humbling in this persistence. The leatherback asks nothing of us except space and restraint. It does not demand intervention, admiration, or ownership. It simply requires an ocean that still behaves like an ocean. In its slow, powerful movements through dark water, the leatherback carries a message older than language. Survival is not about dominance. It is about alignment with the systems that sustain life. As long as jellyfish drift, currents flow, and beaches remain dark enough for hatchlings to find the sea, this ancient giant will continue its journey, silent, tireless, and necessary.